Welcome back to hashtag adulting, everybody. I'm Zack Peter.
And I'm Abigail Fraher.
How you doing, boo? How are you surviving this quarantine?
Man, I'm okay. This weekend was rough.
It was rough. Why was it rough? I mean, it's a little gloomy today in LA.
It's been gloomy, and then Ohio opened up on Friday, like outdoor patio areas, and it was out of control. I ended up going out to dinner Saturday night on a patio, and like where I was at was pretty chill, and they were doing all the precautions and everything, and it was smooth. But then like places next door, I mean, it was insane. So it's crazy how the little things like that are now like such huge issues and deals.
I know.
I don't know. I'm in a weird space right now.
I went on like a 5.5 mile walk yesterday, and it was like the highlight of my week. And I'm like, what has my life become? I'm like, I went on just a long walk, and it made me so excited. Okay, so before we get into today's topic and guest, we wanted to give a quick shout out to, so we want to give you guys shout outs when you leave us reviews on the show, just to show you that we love you. So we wanted to give a shout out to Jets Girl 1028. She said, Zack and Abigail keep things light, funny, and relatable. Thank you for making me laugh and keeping my mind busy. Well, Jets Girl, we're going to keep it busy. We're going to keep your mind busy today, especially if you've been having like a late night mind kind of busy. Like you've been like struggling sleeping. Are you struggling to sleep at all?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I struggle to sleep though, I think in general. Like I'm very excited for this because I've always struggled with sleeping. And I think it's very much tied into anxiety for me. So sometimes I have trouble staying asleep, sometimes falling asleep, sometimes it's getting up. I don't know. I have all the issues. So.
Well, I guess today we'll figure out, is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it because we think our man is cheating on us in quarantine? We had that issue a couple weeks ago. So let's talk about sleep, baby, because I know I'm going a little crazy at night. Today's guest is a producer. She's a science journalist, so she's really, really smart, and she's the creator of the hit YouTube series Braincraft. She's also the host of the YouTube Originals special, Sleeping with Friends. Please welcome Vanessa Hill.
Hi, how are you?
We are great. How are you?
I am good. I am awake.
Love it. Have you been sleeping very well lately? I feel like you're going to be our this is going to be like a sleep masterclass with you.
Look, I know a lot of the things about sleep, but I still struggle with sleep issues myself. Actually, one of the reasons I became so interested in sleep is because 5 or 6 years ago, I quit my job in science and I started freelancing. I started working from home. So I kind of went through a lot of the issues all of us are going through right now, like 5 or 6 years ago, where I had more time. I wasn't commuting. I was setting my own schedule, but I was so tired.
I know. I feel like I'm like struggling because I like want like consistency and routine and connection and people, that all I do at night is like ruminate on all the things that I want. I'm like, I want a man, and I want some babies, and I want love. No, I'm just kidding. I stress about all the things that I still have to do tomorrow. That's what I really sleep.
So, Vanessa, before we jump into sleep habits, aiding in sleep, and I'm sure there's a lot of differences too that you can make us aware of with normal sleep habits versus COVID and how that's affecting sleep patterns. But we do a little thing where we do an icebreaker, and I'm going to start a sentence and you're going to finish it for me. We call it espresso yourself. So it's 4 sentences, and I'm going to have you finish them off for me, for us to get to know you better, and for our listeners to get to know you better too.
Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome. So first one is, I can't start my day without
checking my phone.
Oh, I heard that's not good.
Nobody admits that. I love that. Yes. Perfect. Next one is, I feel sexiest when
I can have my hair colored so it's not going gray.
Oh my God. I know the struggle.
That's going to be a brunette by the time we're out. And
it was so funny because I listened to one of your episodes before I joined, and your hair in the thumbnail for your show is completely blonde.
Yeah.
And as soon as I jumped on the call, I was like, oh my God, you too.
I'm not a natural blonde. I had to come out over the quarantine and let people know that I'm not naturally platinum.
Next one is, when I go to the gym,
wish I wasn't there.
The honesty coming through today is so
I'm very transparent.
love that. And then lastly, I feel most like a boss when
I'm closing a deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
and you've had a little deal closing lately too.
So I have a new show that is coming out on the 20th of May, which is possibly in the past, depending on when people are listening to this. And it's a 3-part reality series about sleep. It's going to be super fun. So yeah, I'm jazzed for it.
I love it.
All during quarantine. Love it. So talk to us about what really prompted, besides your own sleep patterns, kind of prompted this idea for this show, or have you always studied sleep patterns? Like how did you get involved in that?
Yeah, sure. So I started really having a look into the science of sleep 5 or 6 years ago. I had this moment where I quit my job in science and started a YouTube channel that's called Braincraft. And I used to work as a science journalist and educator, and I really just wanted to talk directly to the public about how to improve their well-being. Like, I was having a look at a lot of research and talking about research studies and things like that, but there was a lot that I was seeing coming through in science research about happiness, about productivity, about sleep, about our mental health and all this stuff. So what happened is that I stopped commuting, I stopped setting an alarm, I started setting my own schedule, I was getting more sleep every night, and I was more and more tired. And I couldn't figure this out. And I was like, what is going on with me? Like, for once, I can just work in my own time, but I couldn't figure out how to actually be alert and how to focus. And I was moody and I was having like a lot of issues. So I started looking into what's called sleep hygiene, which is basically how we can have healthy habits and behaviors around sleep. And on my YouTube channel, I started making a lot of videos about sleep, like what happens when we're sleep deprived, what are the effects on the body, why are some people a night owl and why are some people morning people, and all this kind of stuff mixed in with my other videos on psychology and things like that. And last year, I was thinking about sleep a lot. I wanted to do something bigger, right? I really started having more like moonshot ideas and stuff like that. And I approached the YouTube Originals team because being on YouTube for a long time, they were successful to me, and they were really interested in the idea of making a reality show around sleep. And they were very supportive of a completely strange idea that I had, which is that we would get a group of contestants together who would put to the test all of these different behavioral techniques, but also sleep technology, to compete to see who could improve their sleep the most. So you've probably noticed, being podcasters, that there's a mattress app. The sleep industry is huge, right? Huge. So I had been thinking a lot about that in previous years as well. And I mean, a lot of the things that these companies are selling are great, but a lot of them don't actually have a lot of impact on the quality of your sleep. So I really just wanted to kind of drill down into that to find out what worked, what didn't, what things people could really use to improve their sleep, and just learn a lot about sleep.
So what have you found has been what are the biggest issues people find when it comes to struggling with sleep? Because a lot of people, I feel like everybody I talk to, they're like, oh, I'm an insomniac. I stay up until 4 a.m. And I'm just like, excuse me, I don't want bags tomorrow. I have to tape in the morning. I need to get to bed early. So what do you think are the biggest issues that people are facing that's helping them either not stay asleep through the night or struggle to fall asleep?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to start that off by saying there are some people who do have sleep disorders, who do have other issues that they take medication for, and that can really disrupt normal sleep patterns. But in the general population, so people who don't have an illness that disrupts their sleep, or they don't have a diagnosed sleep condition, the biggest struggles that people have are, number one, not prioritizing their sleep, which sounds like what you just mentioned, where people are busy with work, they have social commitments, they're binging Netflix until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh my God, yes, that's me.
We're all guilty of choosing other things other than choosing to go to bed, prioritize our sleep, have a wind down routine before sleep. The other thing is stress and anxiety. So people not being able to fall asleep, people waking up in the middle of the night because they have those ruminating thoughts that you mentioned swirling around in their mind. They're thinking about all of the things that they need to do, and they're feeling quite stressed about right now, honestly, people's financial situation, employment, all that kind of thing. So in a healthy population, we really see that priority of sleep and stress and anxiety being some of the biggest issues that are stopping people from getting a good night's rest.
What have you seen, or I don't know if you even have enough studies for during this whole pandemic? Have you seen anything shifting there with sleep? I mean, I feel like the Netflix thing is like huge for me. I always feel like I just made like the best decision of my life, and I'm like, you can watch this tomorrow. Like,
it's not that difficult, is it?
I love that you have that willpower though, because the other night, Abigail, I normally do, but I was like, you know what? It's Friday night. # treat yourself, self-care Sunday every day. And then I was like, I made a martini, and then I started binging Schitt's Creek, and then it was like 2 a.m, and then a burger showed up at my door, and I was like, when did I order this? So yeah, I love your willpower.
What a wild weekend.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you repeat your question? I really got caught up with the...
Sorry, I totally derailed.
That just went off on a tangent. No, so what are the biggest differences you're seeing now with sleep habits versus when, the world's in like a normal state or whatever, where people are going to work and coming home and can be out of their house? Have things changed a bit?
Yeah, sure. So it's funny how you mentioned, like, is there research about this? Because I feel like the one thing that we've learned from COVID is that it takes a really long time to, like, do research and develop vaccines, and science is a slow process. So we don't have any, like, conclusive things. But one of the most interesting places you can look at actually is Google search trends and YouTube search trends. To see what people are searching. It kind of gives you an insight into like symptoms and things that people have. And searches for insomnia have shot up over the COVID-19, over the period that we've been in right now. And what we're seeing from that, and from reports from medical professionals as well, is that people are struggling with working from home. So not having a set routine, spending too much time either just sitting in a chair in the one place, not being as active as we normally are, or actually working in bed, working in your bedroom and getting into bad sleep habits around that. And then the other thing, which I'm sure we're all feeling, which is huge, is just the stress and anxiety that people are feeling in this moment that we're in, whether that be about your health, your family's health, your finances, your employment situation, just a general sense of dread of what's happening in the world. It's kind of endless, all of the things that we can think about with that. So they're the biggest things that we've seen at the moment.
And what are some things that we can start to do? Because I know, like, we've even tackled this on the show with, like, we say that you should set up a routine and try to, like, break up your days and make sure you have, like, a set schedule of, like, what you want to do and when you want to take lunch and when you're going to go for a walk and all of these things, just to give yourself some sort of consistency and break up the weeks from the weekends. So what do you think we can be tweaking or adding to our daily routine that may be able to help with some of this stress or anxiety or struggles that we're facing when it comes to sleep?
For sure. So your brain thrives on a routine. So as you said, a routine is so important. And I feel like there's a couple of little tweaks that you can have in there that really help your mental health and help set you up to have a good night's sleep. So you mentioned exercise. One of those is just getting out and about, being as active as you can right now. Something that I have started doing, which might sound silly, is I've started walking to and from work, even though I'm working in my apartment. Like, I'll go out and go for a walk before I start work, and then at the end I'll leave. I'll be like, I'm walking home from work now, and I'll listen to a podcast and I'll go for a 20-minute walk and come home.
That's so smart.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but it really helps you just separate the time that you have spent working at home and then the time that you're going to spend just being at home, being with your family, or Netflix and burgers, or whatever you're doing. And then the other things that we can work into our routine are ways to help us manage the stress and anxiety that we're dealing with right now. So something that we've seen from past global tragedies, whether it's been other pandemics like SARS or terrorist attacks, natural disasters, things like that, research that has looked into people's stress and anxiety in those events has found that the more time we spend consuming news media about those events, the worse we feel.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing we can do is limit the time that we're spending like on Twitter, watching news on TV, like just consuming coronavirus news. Basically, obviously information is important and, you know, we need to be keeping up to date with what's going on with closures and lockdowns and things like that. But set yourself like 15 minutes in the middle of the day, in the afternoon, where you just consume your news. And that is your news time, and you're not going in and just like watching live TV for 2 hours in the evening or something like that and seeing all of these horrible news reports from all around the world.
Yeah.
So that's a big one as well. And another thing where people are having trouble falling asleep due to stress or anxiety is where we can have a journaling routine. So something that psychologists recommend doing is creating a worry list where you just set some time. So you're like, I've got my 15 minutes of news time. Another time I'm going to have 15 minutes of worry time, where you sit down and you write down a list of everything you're worried about or everything that you're stressed about. And doing this before bed really helps you get those thoughts out of your mind, like get them down on paper so they're not swirling around in there while you're trying to fall asleep. And then also it helps you kind of contextualize the things that you're worried about, right? Like some of those things may be very real concerns, but some of them, when you put them into the context of what's happening now, like we're all healthy, we're all at home, we all have something to do, you know, like sometimes it just helps to contextualize what you're worried about with what's going on elsewhere.
Interesting.
Zack, like, I'm going to worry about the 2 kids I don't have yet.
I'm worried about my hair. I'm worried about my brows.
So a lot of it seems like it's directly related to like self-control and willpower. It's a little bit like making sure you divide up those times that you actually like set time aside to worry. What are other tips you have? Like, is there a time? I mean, we're all like ordering in, cooking. Like, when should you stop eating before you go to bed? Like, is that really a thing? Like, what? How do you feel about like time limits with that and like screen time before bed? And like, what are some of those?
Technology is a big one.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the most important things we can do as well is to make sure we dim the lights and stop using our phone. They say, I mean, it's said to be like hours before bed, but I say start with half an hour and see how you go, because it's not realistic for a lot of people, especially people who get home late from work, right? Like you know, sometimes you just have to eat or you have to exercise whenever you can. Like we're not robots going through this perfect daily routine every single day, but when you can, stop your screen time at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. Something that helps with as well is what I mentioned about the news, like limiting the time you're exposed to news and also looking at email, because if you're working late at night and you're getting messages and emails and, you know, Slack messages, whatever it may be, that can activate a stress response in your body, which keeps you awake.
I've actually during quarantine, I finally like put my foot down and I was like, listen, I'm not checking emails after 6 p.m. I'm just not doing it, because then I'm like wanting to get a jump start on the next day, and then I end up doing it all. It's a never ending cycle, and it's horrible. So that definitely helps for sure.
Yes, yeah. And I would say when you can, try to have dinner at a reasonable time. Like don't eat at 8 o'clock if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, you know, like try to leave, you know, 3 to 4 hours between bedtime and sleep when you can. And
or 2 in the morning.
Yeah. There actually used to be a lot of research that said we shouldn't exercise too late at night, but newer research is actually saying that doesn't matter as much. And at the end of the day, sleep is a really personal thing. So I think that you really just need to do what works best for you. Like if you are eating close to bed and you're feeling awake and alert the next day and that's fine for you, then go for it.
Is there like a designated, sorry,
No,
Zach,
go
I
ahead.
cut
Go
you
ahead.
off. There's designated like amount of time that we should be
That
sleeping.
was going
Are
to
we
be my
sleeping?
question. Yeah.
Oh, well, great, because sometimes I sleep for 12 hours and I'm still exhausted.
That might be why you're exhausted. Because 12 hours is a bit too long, but I'm proud of you. I haven't been able to sleep 12 hours for a very long time. But sleeping for at least 7 hours is recommended, and 7 to 9 hours is the magic number.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to work on that a little bit more.
I'm
So,
back on the 5-hour end, and I'm like, I'm going to bed at 7 and waking up at 7, and I
right.
don't know how it's happening.
So we talked about technology and how we want to make sure we kind of limit that before bed. Are you a fan of like the blue light blocking glasses?
Oh, it's so interesting that you asked that, because we actually experimented with the glasses in Sleeping with Friends, the show that I just made, where we had challenges in the show where different contestants got different pieces of sleep technology and sleep aids that they had to use every night. So what happened is everyone did a baseline night where they just went in and just did a normal night of sleep, and then we had these challenges for subsequent nights where we gave them different things. So we gave one of our contestants the orange tinted glasses, which block the blue light that comes out of a lot of light bulbs, but mostly our screens, computers, TVs, phones. And what you'll see in the show is really interesting, but I will say people seem to spend more time using their phone when they have the orange tinted glasses. So it doesn't necessarily help in that way, because people use them as a crutch, right? And they're like, oh, I can watch Netflix until 2 a.m. because I have these orange tinted glasses on, so like the light from the TV isn't going to affect me, but you're still like using a computer or whatever it may be for hours when you should actually be sleeping. So I think they can be helpful, but a lot of people don't necessarily use them in the right way.
What is your thoughts on melatonin?
Right. So melatonin is actually a hormone that you secrete naturally in your brain. It's a natural thing. If some people have trouble falling asleep, do what works best for you. But the best thing that you can do is actually look to behaviors that you have, like setting a routine, having a nighttime routine, dimming the lights, and you'll actually produce you do produce melatonin naturally, and your melatonin levels rise before you go to bed. So you can mimic a lot of what taking a supplement will do by just adjusting the light and your routine.
Awesome. Thank you. That's it, Zach. I'm done.
Email me any follow-up questions.
There we go. So you said that Sleeping with Friends is like a competition show, and so there's going to be a series of challenges that contestants will have to participate in order to win. Yeah. What are they winning, or what are they like playing for?
The competition is for the title of being the best sleeper. They're taking home a lot of tips that they can use to improve their sleep.
I just need the clout. As long as I have the title, I don't even need a trophy. I just need the validation.
We gave them a very lovely sleep mask that was on a gold head. That was kind of the trophy that they received.
I love it. So it's a 3-part like special, right? And it's going to be available on YouTube Originals?
Yes, that's correct. So it will be on the Braincraft channel through YouTube Originals. So it's just youtube.com/Braincraft. The episodes are 30 minutes each. So 1.5 hours in total, which is a very easy binge.
Mm-hmm.
Sign me up.
I love it. So all 3 episodes are available May 20th, correct?
Yes.
On the Braincraft YouTube channel.
Yes.
Abigail, should we do our takeaways for our biggest, like what we learned most from this week's episode?
One thing that I will add that I forgot to add before is that the series will be available to stream for free, like absolutely free for everyone. Yeah.
Save the pocketbook. So I feel like through this whole thing, I mean, it started off with you admitting that you were on your screen in the morning. So I'm not going to feel as bad about that, and it's I'd rather be on it in the morning than on it at night before I go to bed. If you're gonna pick and choose when to have it next to you, I think that self control is a huge part of sleeping well and being able to kind of prioritize what you need to be doing. And then I like the 15 minutes of worrying. I think that's genius. I'm gonna start that today.
You always steal mine. I think, okay, 15 minutes of worrying, I think is a really good one. I think what I will rephrase that into is just having like a nighttime routine where you like kind of have some sort of break from your day into like, okay, now it's bedtime. Now it's time to put on my PJs or strip naked, however you like to sleep, and then have some sort of routine, whether you're doing like a gratitude or a dear diary or the worry list, just having some sort of structure that breaks up the day into bedtime. I think my second biggest takeaway will be that blue light blocking glasses or these crutches that people use are very much a crutch, and they can actually hinder your sleep, because if you don't necessarily use it as an aid and use it more of a crutch, then it could actually keep you up until 2 a.m. Because I found myself guilty of that as well, of using the blue light blocking glasses, but then probably on my phone a little extra while I'm in bed instead of like actually being able to go to sleep. And then I think my third biggest takeaway, we talked about so much. Well, I guess my third biggest takeaway is that everybody should probably go and watch Sleeping with Friends.
Yes,
I know I'm excited to learn about all of the tips and tricks that we're going to be learning on the show, Vanessa.
Yeah, I mean, I love reality TV, but at the end of the day, I'm an educator, and we take away so much from reality shows that we watch, but it's not always that useful for our life, right? So I am really excited for the show because it's actually quite helpful to people, as well as being a fun reality TV show where you get insight into other people's lives, how they sleep, what they're doing in the middle of the night, all that kind of stuff. So
the only thing I learned from American Idol is that I can't sing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I learned from like the Great British Bake Off is that I'm terrible at baking. So yeah, I'm really excited that YouTube trusted me to make a show that was experimental like this, and all we've heard from people that have watched it are amazing things, and that it's been really helpful to them. So please check it out.
It's content, you don't sitting down watching it. You're actually pulling something from it. I'm excited. Yeah.
Vanessa, are there any other takeaways you want to leave people with before we close out the show?
Yeah, I will say that improving your sleep isn't easy, and there's all of these tips and things that you can read, that you can just hear from listening to this podcast, and start with one rather than trying to do everything at once, and just take it one step at a time. When you've mastered one, move on to the next thing, and you can kind of work your way up to being an amazing sleeper.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for calling in and chatting with us. Where can people follow you and keep up with you on all of the social medias?
For sure. So the best place is YouTube, where it's just Braincraft, and then Braincraft on Instagram and Twitter as well.
I love it. Sweet. Thank you guys for listening to #Adulting with me, Zack Peter, and Miss Abigail Fraher. You guys can follow me at Just Plain Zack.
Follow me on all social media at Abigail_AF.
And don't forget to follow at the Adulting Podcast to keep up with all the latest show happenings. And stay tuned. We've got some more great life hacks to send at you this summer. So get ready. Don't forget to leave us a review, because we love that validation, right, Abigail? We want all that validation. 5 stars only, nothing less. Our YouTube, our iTunes doesn't allow you to leave less than 5 stars. So just make sure that's the benchmark. I know, it's a glitch that we just can't seem to fix. But thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to catch #Adulting every Tuesday on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, all the places. And until next time, we'll be busy.